Now let me tell you, there's 3 stages to making a first impression in person. 3 stages. The first few seconds, which we just talked about, doesn't take long to meet somebody and shake their hand, right? But then there's the first few minutes when you've shaken somebody's hand, we're going, hey, how you doing? What's your name? Matt, good to meet you, Matt. Now what do Matt and I do next after we meet each other? The first few minutes, what do we do? How do we do it? How do we talk to somebody we don't know?
How's the weather?
Say it again.
How's the weather?
How's the weather? You ask them a question. Very good. When we don't know somebody, here's the tip. When you ask, the acronym for ask is you acquire specific knowledge. So the deal is I know, it's worse. It gets worse. My kids go, Dad, not another one, please. And I'm going, I'm sorry, I can't help it, they just come out. You always ask somebody you meet that you don't know something about themselves. And guess what? When you do that, most people love to talk about themselves. Isn't that true? Yeah. I know you do. We all do. So the way you get to talk to somebody that you don't know, you don't say, hey, I'm Bob. I'm a pretty important guy. I've been doing a lot of this my whole life. You don't talk about you. You talk about them. And you get them talking about themselves. And why is that important? Well, because the average student today, when you leave high school, college, or graduate school, you're going to have 12 to 15 jobs in your career. That's the average number of jobs the average student will have today. 12 to 15 jobs. Were you surprised at that number? I think, not really? You thought you'd have that many?
Probably with the amount of experience everybody has now.
Yeah, well, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I'll tell you what does that mean? That means you're going to interview a lot. That means you're going to interview and meet a lot of people. So you'd better be prepared and know how to talk to them, right? So when you ask questions about people that you don't know, they talk about themselves. So that's the first few minutes when you meet somebody. First few seconds is easy, first few minutes. Now, you go home, you separate, you go to different places, but you really want to keep in touch with that person. You meet somebody, you think to yourself, wow, maybe they could help me later on in my life. How do you do that? How do you keep in touch with somebody that you just met, you had a little conversation, but now you want to keep in touch? What do?
Follow.
Yeah, follow how?
Email, do things.
You could certainly send an email. You could possibly even make a phone call, right?